If you're tired of having more goals than a soccer team, but achieving fewer than a sleepy sloth, this episode's for you. Join us as I dive into the secrets that will turn you into a goal-setting rock star. With my guest today, Deb Eckerling, author of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting. This is Strategy Talks.
Let's strategize together. Let's hear it from an expert. Join the conversation, it's informative and free. You and me, let's talk some strategy. Here's your host, Morin-van.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Season 4 of Strategy Talks. I am so glad that you are here. And once again, I have a strategic thinker with me that we're going to talk about goal setting and goal getting. And I'm so excited to introduce you, if you've never met her, to my friend, Deb Eckerling. Hi, Deb. How are you?
I get to talk about goals with you, so I am fantastic. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, that is wonderful. So one of the reasons you've been on Strategy Talks before, and we have talked about the Deb method and goal setting before, but you have a brand new book out. Can you tell us the name of the book and just a little bit? Oh, there it is. Awesome. So tell us the synopsis of the book.
Thank you. It is called 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, how to stay focused, grow your network, and get more done in less time. And it's 52 secrets. Before the book, I interviewed 60 achievers in business, technology, entertainment, food, of course, food, and other creative areas. And I asked a simple question: what is your secret for setting goals or getting goals? And so the book has 7 sections, and the first one is focus. So it's all about, getting in the mindset. And then we go to, let's see if I could do them in order by heart: well-being, action, networking, communication, productivity, and leadership and teamwork. So I did almost all these interviews were done via Zoom. There were a couple via email, but the whole idea is the secret to success is there is no one secret. So I gathered a bunch of secrets, organized it in a way that's sort of like a choose your own adventure. What do I need to know sort of book where you can go to either the section or the advice that you need to get out of that rut or up level your career or your business. So the book is basically all strategy. And it's, by the way, awesome.
Well, I can't wait to read it. I know it's on its way to me, so that'll be very exciting. And as a strategist, I love goal setting. I usually, at the end of each year, November, I start looking for what did I do this year? Where am I now? What do I want to accomplish next year? And I set some goals. And if you're a listener to Strategy Talks, you notice that it's the same jingle. But if you're a watcher of the live show, you might have seen a little bit of a change in this intro video where I really want to promote to all of you that we are talking to strategic thinkers. And Deb, you certainly are a strategic thinker. So let's dive into goal setting and goal getting. How do you think, Deb, the principles of goal setting from your book, how can they be applied to help businesses align their objectives with, let's talk about vision and mission first. Vision and their mission. How do these goals, how can that work together?
You mentioned how we've talked about the Deb method before, which is my system for goal setting simplified. And my firm belief is that you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. And one thing the Deb method does that other goal setting air quote experts don't, they talk about reaching things. I say you need to set that foundation so you are working towards the right things. And I believe that's, like I said, the essence of everything. So it starts with the D's: determine your mission. You can't get what you want unless you know what that is. So like I said, in the book, the first chapter is focus. And for that, it's talking about, gifting yourself time, like to do the work, to figure out what it is you are building. I'm going to mash up different people without attribution, because a lot of these principles are really, I don't want to say same, but similar, but it's, you need to find the passion behind your purpose. You need to be consistent. So all of these things are addressed in that focus chapter. It's about, okay, what am I creating? What is going to speak to me that I'm going to get excited about? So I'm in it for the long haul.
That makes a lot of sense. So if we think about that with the mission and the passion, can you give us an example, maybe in your personal life or from your book, where a goal setting strategy helped you overcome a common business challenge, maybe managing your time or prioritizing tasks, like getting this book done and published?
Okay, wow. I've got, and I knew this question was coming, and I have like 5 different answers. I think really, and let me use one from my own life first, and then we can dive a little bit more into it. But I created the DEB method because I had been working for a company for years, doing communications and project management, and that was going away. And my mom said to me, "You hate SMART goals. Why don't you create something with DEB goals?" And it turned out the system that I had been coaching on and teaching for years worked perfectly with my name. Determine your mission, explore your options, brainstorm your path. So I took the principles that I was teaching and applied it to myself. And I think especially for people in the marketing and business realms, if you're not treating yourself like your own best client, you're missing something. There is a reason that you teach certain things. You always do better when you do the things, and this is, great part of the book. It's not just their secret. They share an example and or an anecdote about how it applies. So the purpose being, do the things you tell others to do, look inward. You're going to be way more successful than if you feel like you know better than yourself.
Wow, that is really deep. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, I think, Deb, that is a great way, a great reminder for all of us, right? And for example, I tell people to do short form video, right? I talk about it a lot, but if I wasn't creating short form video, would you listen to me? Would you believe me? Maybe not, right? So yeah, I get it. And if I teach strategy and I do strategy for people, but I don't have a strategy, what does that say about me? So I love that. That's a great example. One of the things that this is a side step from what I was going to ask you, but I heard you talk about business goals. And talking to marketers specifically, and this is something we run into often, whether you're a social media manager, maybe you're a community manager, and you're tasked with setting goals, but often it's an impossible task. And it's because you don't have the business goals. You just have the social media goals. And so what would you say to somebody, and this is just a side question, but if somebody doesn't have the right goals, how do they approach the right people to say, hey, in order to set these goals or to accomplish these objectives that you are wanting me to accomplish, I need to know what your goals are. Is there a good way to do that to not make people feel bad? Or what does that conversation look like, Deb? And I know this is completely a side conversation, but let's talk about it, because I know that as a marketer, I'm often, told, oh, we just want more likes, or, oh, we just want brand awareness. But they forget to tell me that the business goal is to get 10 new clients, or to, move from, expand the territory into Canada. Those are things I need to know as a social media person. So how do you have that conversation?
I love this question, because one of the workshops I do, I call it keep your employees engaged and productive. And I will go in and do workshops for companies I love to do it around annual review time because that's when you're like celebrating the wins for the year and then deciding what wins you want a year from now. But that is the recipe for success, is making sure everybody is on the same wavelength. You're all rowing the boat in the same direction. And approach is really attitude. If you go into it saying, oh my goodness, I don't know how I'm going to have this conversation, that's the kind of conversation you're going to have. But if you go into it with enthusiasm, but also anticipating an enthusiastic response or an I'm glad you asked response, you're going to be way more successful than if you cower. So if you're approaching the big boss and be like, I am really thrilled to be working with you. Can you give me a little bit more perspective on the company's short and long-term goals so I make sure everything I do is in alignment? And while you're at it, if you don't know the company's mission or mission statement, that's a great time to ask as well.
I love it. Okay, so that's really good. So take that to the bank, everybody who is in marketing and is working on 2025, objectives, KPIs, but you have only been giving marketing goals and really don't know what direction the business is headed. You need to have that conversation with somebody. Okay, so let's talk about adaptation. Things change all the time. Look at what happened in 2024 with AI and what's happening now. I mean, it's like crazy, right? So how can strategies from your book, Deb, help marketers adjust their goals in response to changing marketing conditions?
You mentioned change, and remember your goal guide, a roadmap for setting, planning, and achieving your goals. My book came out in January 2020. So 6 weeks before we all got collective change by circumstance, out came this book to help people embrace change by choice or circumstance. So I think the first step, I feel like I don't know the stages of grief, but I believe acceptance is the first one. And I think knowing that change is inevitable is the first step. And like, okay, I got it. I mean, I used to say, when you think about long-term goals, think 10 years from now. Now I say 1, 3, or 5. And even that feels like a long period of time. The way the book is mapped out is that you can go into any section for inspiration. So let's say you're having communication challenges. So there is and a lot of these tips could have gone in more than one section, but I created a networking section, and then the next one is communication. And if you're stumbling, I'm going to just do what I said. I'm going to go to just something. Okay, I just go to the first one, which was Dana Steele, which is be able to say what you do in 3 words. If you are shook up by everything that's going on, go back to your core. Remember what it is you do and why you're doing it, and then pare it down. And the other thing is I talk about the mission and motto. You need your mission statement and then put it into a 3 or 5 word motto. Is similar but different. Brain dump all the things that you do and then shorten it until you really can identify and articulate. The other thing is that Dana talks about is you want it to be something you do that's going to inspire another question. So okay. If I say goal setting simplified, I guess it's not as good of an example because people ask what I do. It's goal setting simplified. Changing your life is challenging enough. I made the instructions really easy. Oh, how do you do that? Okay, I believe the example Dana used in the book is her nephew's. What he does is he's an engineer, but he breaks things. What do you do? I break things. So if you are flooded with too much information and no idea what to do next in direction, really pare down what you're doing to its essence and make sure that message is coming across in all of your communication.
I love that. And that's really what's happening to, I think, a lot of us marketers, right? With AI coming, what is the core? What do we do? There, are you a content manager? Are you a community manager? Are you a content writer? Are you a copywriter? Are you an SEO specialist? Like dive down to what you do, what the core of what you do is, where your expertise lies. So I like that answer a lot. I think that will help all of us. So
can I do one more like little
yeah,
add-on example?
absolutely. Absolutely. Let's do it.
Because well, and I'm remembering back, and you know this as well, as I am a former non-cook who is now also a food writer and food podcaster. And my first 2 books were self-published. My second one, and this is really funny, it's 51 Secrets, but not 51 Secrets, Write on Blogging, 51 Tips to Create, Write, and Promote Your Blog. That one I did 51 because 50 was too normal. The 52 of this book is, more about the weekly. It never occurred to me. I just think it's hilarious that I've got one title is 51 and the other's 52. But that's not even the point. When I talk about blogging, in that book, I say, everybody and their brother has an idea. Right. And all of them know people who love food. And there are a million different kinds of food blogs, but you need to really hone in on your specialty. It doesn't matter that other people do what you do. Right. What matters is you are taking your background and your experience, and that really applies to everything. So my approach with my food stuff is I am a former non-cook, really enjoying these bite-sized conversations about food, cooking, and community. It makes me unique because, and I have met a couple other former non-cooks, but how many do you know that gets this into something? So I wear that badge. So think like a badge of honor that it is. So when you're looking at your specialty, it doesn't have to be so narrow that you can't do a lot of things, but identifying what makes you special is really going to come out when you know it. You need to know these things, and then you can share it more easily.
Yeah, no, I agree. And knowing yourself well, and it might take a while if you're new into your career, or you've come from a different background, like Deb. You came from writing and you went to cooking, creating food, right? Give yourself some grace there. I'm just going to say this out loud. Give yourself some grace there as you're but honing in on the keywords and then honing in on what it is, your unique value proposition. And then wear that badge of honor and use that in everything you do, all the content you create, everything you write, everything you talk about, every podcast you go on. So I totally love that. And you are a true example of that, Deb, because wherever you are and wherever you go, goals and goal setting is on the top of the list of the things that we talk about. So
that is the goal.
That is the goal. So what role, you were talking about networking earlier, what role do you think networking plays in achieving business goals? And how can somebody who's watching this apply networking strategies from your book or from your real life experience, expand their professional opportunities? So basically, how does networking help you achieve your goals?
Okay, networking is everything. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. And you and I, we're a great example because we met in real life. We connected on social. We went many years where all we would do is like and comment and happy birthday. And then I think you were looking for people for a show that you were doing. Maybe it was pre-pandemic, I'm pretty sure. Yep. And we reconnected and started having conversations. The people that you meet, that you connect with, especially, as soon as I meet someone, I will do a LinkedIn request because that's your Rolodex, to use a slightly outdated term. If I need someone to fill a slot in my show, I will go on my LinkedIn and I will put in a keyword and see who pops up. But even in a more specific example-y thing, my book, 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, it is the perfect example of networking. Every single person who shared a secret in the book is someone that I know. They're a friend, there's someone I've interviewed, or there's someone that I interviewed said, oh, you need to talk to this person because I want to know what their secret is. Mm-hmm. So this is a book of all first degree connections, which is really the purpose of networking. So you have the people and the information you need at your fingertips. Networking in actually, let's go back to the table of content. You know, we've got Bryn Tillman and Bryn, who I met through our friend Vivica Von Rosen, sent me to like 5 other people, and one of those people sent me to Guy Kawasaki. I mean, this is just an example of networking in action because I really wanted to include him. He's the afterword in the book. But Bryn's secret is, where are we going? Leverage your network's network. I mean, of course, but the way that Bryn talks about it, she shares, now this is the way that you really utilize your time effectively in tapping into the resources of the people in your network. You know, a really good example, I've got Liz Hyman's in here, and she talks about networking as an introvert. So you have to do it because we don't live in a vacuum. It would be very dusty. Sorry. We need to, the people who you need are out there and they're at your disposal. So it's almost like, it's like a gift to them when you can say, hey, do you know this? Can you help me? Or do you know somebody? Because they also know that they can reach out to you if they need something from you.
Well, it's reciprocal. And
yes.
And that's if you haven't figured this out, if you're in marketing and you keep all your people close to your chest, other people aren't going to share their people with you, right? So it's, hey, I have a referral and I'm looking for you. Or, you know, like I had an amazing guest on my podcast and she was asking about you. Could I introduce you, right? Most people, when you set it up nicely and you do a genuine, honest request, they're not going to shut you down. They're going to be like, sure, right? Because that's what it's all about. Because you know, they might come back and say, I see on LinkedIn that you know this person and I've been trying to get them on my podcast. Would you make that introduction? So, you know, that networking piece is definitely reciprocal. And I think if you're genuine and then remember that part, then yeah, I think it's pretty amazing.
It really, in my book is just, it's the perfect example of that. Yeah. And what I would say to people, and usually when I'm in networking meetings at the end of the meeting, I'll be like, is there something you need? Any resource I can help you with? And 9 times out of 10 or more, they will answer and then ask you the same. When I was doing the interviews for the book, I would end with, is there someone you know who you think would be of value to add to the book? And like I said, some of them said, oh, you need to interview so-and-so because she does a gazillion different things. I want to know how she does it. Or, oh, this guy, he would be perfect. Let me do an intro for you. And I gave the requirements are, and I was saying this and I realized it's the same thing. They would have to be someone I'd be friends with, and they'd have to have a giving spirit. And then it occurred to me, same, right?
Of course. You only know people have giving spirits because you're a giving person. That is how that works. So if you're wondering, if you are listening, if you're watching this, if you're watching Strategy Talks with Deb and you're not meeting your goals and you're frustrated, think about what have you done for someone lately? Honestly, that should be some reflective stuff. What have you done? Can you share some kindness? Can you make an introduction? Can you write an unsolicited reference for somebody? Can you give somebody a LinkedIn recommendation without them having to ask, right? Do something kind and nice because things will flow back to you. Things that go out will come back. It's ebb and flow. So I love that. So we don't have that much time left, but I want to get into leadership. Goal setting for leaders, right? If you're a leader and you set goals for yourself and your team, how do you get your team to accept those goals and to help you reach them? Is there a magic formula? I think when you were talking about your chapters, there's one about leadership in there.
There is. And I put leadership and teamwork together.
Okay, I love
because
that.
I feel like that is the essence of if you're a leader, you are also a member of the team. And so Susan Feniger, who's a chef in LA in the Southwest, and she's done a lot of TV, so you may have heard of her from there as well. Her secret is let your team know that they matter. When you're treating the people on, and she talks about how she'll just because she owns these restaurants does not mean she's not going to wash dishes if they need to be washed, or peel garlic, or whatever needs to be done needs to be done. And by doing that, you meet your team, you get to know them, you find their assets. And she tells great stories about how she uplifted people who came with little or no experience, and how they elevated their lives, their careers. Why? Because they work for someone who is big on communication and supporting the gifts of the team. That's really, it's back to, you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people,
Right.
but you also need your team. Let me see if I have another really good, Brenda Knight, who's my editor at Mango, who this is, I'm going to tangent, but I'll come back really quickly. I promise.
Okay.
Brenda, who I met when my agents sent out the manuscript, the book proposal for the Deb Method, which was released as your goal guide, I got on the board of Women's National Book Association in San Francisco, even though I live in LA. She's like, Deb, when are you going to join the board? I'm like, okay, fine. And through these activities, I said, Brenda, when are we going to do another book together? And she said, let's start having conversations. And we're both rules girls. There are certain things that you do on the regular that is going to improve your life, whether it's personal or professional. And that was the seed that evolved into this book. Brenda's tip in the book is mentor your replacement. So going back to the giving spirit, bring people under your wing and educate them, and so they can even surpass you. Give them your knowledge. What are you hanging on to your knowledge for? What is it going to do if it just lives in your brain? And so you asked about the role of leadership and teamwork. It is communication, it is sharing, it is uplifting, it is giving your people the information that they need so they can do the job, and the job better. I'm going to give one more example, because I think these are both leadership, and I feel like I should also share from the teamwork aspect. Successful projects are a combination of our hard work, creativity, and a positive attitude. And this one came from my friend Dylan Hennon, who's an actor. And the ecosystem of a movie or a TV show, it's really the ecosystem of any business. Everybody has their role. You want to give people what they need with the positive attitude, with that good energy, so everybody is in a position to succeed.
Fantastic. I love that. And I love that we ended with the leadership and the team, because you're either on a team or you're a leader with a team, right? So this applies to you wherever you are, and that giving spirit and that sharing your knowledge. I absolutely love it. Well, I'm going to show underneath, I'm going to have a quick ask. If you're been watching this, following the show, connect with me on YouTube. I'm going to go all in this year on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel, and then I'm going to change over my channel. By the way, if you're listening to this, it's Doreen Morin-van on YouTube. You'll find it. That's where Strategy Talks lives. And then I'm going to give you the link to Deb's book, 50tosecretbook.com. So check out Deb, connect with her. She is a great person to know, a great friend to have, and just a wonderful person to network with as well. So make sure you do that. Deb, I'm going to let you give the last few words. What do you want people to take away, besides taking your book, but what do you want to take away from a conversation about goal setting that can make a really big impact in their life in 2025?
Oh, so many things. And first of all, thank you so much for having me. Everything you said about me, ditto to you. You are absolutely an amazing human, great to network with, and great to reconnect with you. So thank you for the opportunity. For those who are at a loss, I think the best thing you could do is gift yourself the time to figure out what it is you want, because you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. But if you really want to succeed, start by thinking about your wins. What is your big win from last year? Now decide, what win do you want to be celebrating a year from now? So get that energy from the win and use it to propel you forward. This book, it's like a choose your own adventure. The advice in whatever area you need is there when you need it, at your fingertips. So use that, go through, see what works for you, take them for a test drive, and find the different actions that are going to make a difference in your life, your choice. It is all within your control. So I wish you the best of luck as you really get down to the nitty-gritty and work towards your goals in the new year.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Deb. Thank you for all of you who stay to the end. Thank you to those who listen to Strategy Talks as a podcast. All the links will be in the show note. I appreciate you being here. I'll be back next week with another episode of Strategy Talks. Bye, everybody.